Good evening and a warm welcome to Big Budget Business, where we highlight the lives of prolific young people making strides in their respective fields. Now, what we try to do on this show is to inspire and motivate young people in business and professional settings to do and be more than they already are. Today, we're speaking to the founder of PaperValley, an accounting services firm, Mr. Michael Segolodi. Mr. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, BigBudget. Much appreciated to be here today.
Man, it's a pleasure having you. We usually start the show by having you give us a background of who you are. Tell us more about Mike the man.
Mike is a young man hailing from Mau, born in 1990. Much of my primary school was done in Mau, and then junior school, I also did it in Mau. Senior school, that's when I came to Gaborone. So it's been a schooling journey, different areas, learning different things. Did my University of Botswana. I've also did a short course with BAC on short-term insurance. I'm a Bachelor of Finance degree holder.
Nice.
Generally graduated from UB 2013 and started work immediately. And then about 2017, sat down to actually work on my business full time. It had already started around 2015. So it was a side hustle until 2017, and then I was here. So this is where we are now.
This is where we are, all right. Let me remind you, viewers, we are speaking to Mr. Michael Segolodi, who is the founder of PaperValley, an accounting services firm. So some of the issues that we're going to touch on today include contract administration, the importance of proper financial record keeping, and of course, issues such as internal controls. So there is a link that we have shared which you can actually use to call in if you'd like to ask our guest any questions, and also keep your comments coming. We'd love to hear what you have to say if you have any questions for Mr. Michael Segolodi, who is in studio with us today. You've introduced us to Mike the man. Let's speak to Michael the entrepreneur. Where did your journey start and how did you get to the point that you are at today?
I think I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur. I can even remember my UB days talking about such things as doing accounting for SMMEs. I've been passionate about it.
Wow.
So I think from a young age, I've tried to do multiple things, inspired by different people, obviously. I've sold T-shirts and ultimately get to here, and I try and apply my trade in whatever I can as a young man, and then getting to a point where I can say I'm fixated on doing accounting for mainly the SMME market, but obviously we can still do more than the SMME market, but that is our main target, our main focus as we got into business. Michael, the entrepreneur, has been influenced by different facets. I'm a self-development junkie, so I've read a number of books, Robert Kiyosaki's, and this has always built me. My business partner also is one person because he started the business journey before me. He's also been an inspiration. So it's been a growing thing, and I think the biggest thing about it is learning what it is that people are doing, what are they missing, and then working to actually solve a problem. I think that is one thing that drives me on it. Definitely.
Wonderful. Maybe to speak also on this aspect of partnership, because we tend to focus a lot on the entrepreneur as the sole individual, as the one man. How would you say your partnership aspect has worked on your journey?
It has worked miracles in the sense that, like I'm saying, it's a learning curve. Somebody brings different facets to your journey. I started the business because I'm an accountant, hence an accounting firm, but I needed to learn business because business and being an accountant are two different aspects on their own. And therefore the business partner the right partnership for anybody really. It's about what can you leverage on. It can either be in the same field or otherwise, but with me and him, we are not on the same field.
Okay.
He brought in a whole new dynamic. He's good at your business development. he's been more outspoken, and it pushes me to learn a number of stuff. And also because he's been at it for a number of years, there are certain things he was just doing that were seamless with him, and I needed to pick up the pace and learn at the same time. So partnerships do work. It's just an issue of make sure it's the right partner.
Wonderful, wonderful. So my takeaway from there would definitely be that if we are going to get into partnerships, let's try and see that these are partnerships from which we can leverage on each other's skills and diverse skill sets.
Definitely.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Let's speak now about PaperValley.
Yes, sir.
What does PaperValley do? What are its services? And you spoke there about solving a problem. What problems do you solve?
Yes, PaperValley is an accounting firm. We are legally registered with Botswana Institute of Chartered Accountants to actually practice
Okay.
accordingly with the laws of Botswana. PaperValley offers a variety of services. This stem from your financial management in the form of preparation of annual income statements, basically annual financial statements as a whole, management financial statements, and also any finance related element in your business that could stem from other reports that are normally not in your financial statements.
Okay.
Typical is maybe we get there to actually start appreciating and valuing your revenue line, and what drives the revenue line, what costs are associated with the revenue line, understanding your gross margins, how much profit you're making per product, per service, how much should you be making against industry practice. We also get into your payroll management. This is where ideally you'd have a number of employees, would put them in a database, ensure we manage the leave, the severance days, and get them pay slips, and also get to a point where when the taxman knocks, we can show them this is the number of employees I'm paying, these ones are taxable, these ones are not taxable. We also get into taxation services of any sort, from your income tax, from your pay as you earn, to your withholding tax on rent, on construction, on management fees. There are a plethora of taxes
Absolutely.
that we actually undertake, and it's just for any particular business to understand what taxes are due at any point in time, whether it's VAT, which is the most common, but you need to have a way to attest to them, and be able to show them to the general populace in terms of the business populace, and also to the taxman, because again with tax we are too regulatory on it in terms of the tax acts that will guide you. This is what you should charge VAT on, this is what you shouldn't charge VAT on. When you're paying rent, you should be deducting withholding tax of X amount, pay it to BRS and all the like. So it's all these services packed in a consultancy form.
Yes.
And we always say we are not gurus. However, we want to believe we become a trusted partner to your running operation, to actually make sure we check the blind spots from a financial point of view.
Wow, that's wonderful. So a lot of, you did say blind spots, a lot of the work that you do happens to give the entrepreneurs or the business owners insight into the operations and how things are going within their business.
Definitely. I think bottom line is, every business, regardless of size, regardless of industry, we are driven by a monetary value.
Monetary value.
And accounting becomes the backbone to come and say, what is the monetary value of anything you are doing?
Absolutely.
And how is it interpreted? Because, mind you, having the right partner in terms of a financial accounting partner, what you'll get is a report, an explanation of the report and what it means in your business. We'll tell you what we see happening. I think the notion that people have is, when I have cash, I've made profit. It's not necessarily the case. And once we delve deep into anybody's books, the saying that I normally use is, profit is not cash, cash is not profit. these are not always together. What I mean in short is your accounting numbers could show a profit, but your bank balance could be zero.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. Your bank balance could have 1 million, but then your profit is zero. All these scenarios actually have a what I could say a story to tell at any point in time. But until you as a business owner, a CEO, understand what the story is saying, then you can make decisions, the right decisions for your business.
Yes.
One, your pricing could change because of that.
Absolutely.
Are you overpriced, underpriced? Are you marginally priced? You can actually also make decisions on what type of people am I hiring, because
Internal operations too.
the type of people you're hiring come with a cost.
Of course they do.
A salary, there's your leave,
Yeah.
there's your severance, even what we call non-cash benefits at that moment. They actually apply, and we, as accountants, we put a monetary value to it, and we tell you right now this person you're owing X amount. So in essence, we hope that people get to appreciate and understand accounting is not for my income tax, because BRS can give me a tax clearance
Only at a certain point.
At a certain point. My accountant, I need him because I want to get money from our financial institutions, whether CEDA, NDB, or the commercial banks. So it's about also you, the business person. Can you understand what's happening from a monetary point,
Yeah.
and make decisions that affect the monetary side, so that tomorrow when you say I have profit, or my business is profitable and I have cash, you understand why you are having cash.
Yes.
You understand where to invest your cash. You understand the logic of debt in a business, because obviously there are misconceptions around all these, and it's very simple. The ideology for us is allow us to help you turn around to understand all these, and get to a point where when you have cash, you invest in wealth generating assets.
Wealth generating assets.
Yes, while maintaining debt. I think, like I said, I'm a self-development junkie. I listen to the likes of your Vusi Tembekwayo, and one of the things I know he once tried to show was debt is important, but it's only how you use it that matters.
Okay.
So a lot of times the biggest problem is we get debt for the wrong things. They're not generating value, and therefore when push comes to shove, we are shivering.
Absolutely.
Right? So now we just need to learn and appreciate these insights from a financial point, and then they'll guide when we are getting debt, how much we are getting, what are we getting it for, and then you can be able to say, listen, I'm running a sustainable business. If you're not running an empire, at least run a sustainable business that allows you to know what is happening in any particular day from a financial standpoint.
Wonderful insight. So it's great work that you guys are doing there. I liked how you said your cash is not necessarily your profit.
Definitely.
And your profit isn't necessarily your cash.
Cash.
And how will you know these aspects if you don't see the importance of proper accounting? And this is what I wanted to ask. You know, a lot of young people, you did mention that we only want to focus on the accounting aspects when it's time for us to get something from the financial institution, or it's time to pay taxes and the like. But please delve once again into the importance of proper record keeping and accounting for us with our small businesses.
Yeah, I think the first part is it starts from when you register a business.
Yes.
It's unfortunate a lot of us don't actually get to read your Companies Act. First and foremost, it's regulation states you need to keep accounts.
Yes.
And the reasoning behind is we can only discuss a business from the accounts. You cannot come and define a business from anything else. First thing is, what are the numbers saying? It's a numbers game. So the importance is, one, regulation. Let's be compliant.
Yes.
Two, which is also actually the first one before regulation, is
Yes.
your running of the business. Can you maintain the running of this business? Can you understand what it takes to take any decision? Because it doesn't matter, big or small, whatever the decision you make, has an impact on your books.
Yes.
So it's important to actually understand financial point from a view of, do I want to grow? If I want to grow, what does it mean? I need to know where I am. But how are you going to know where you are if you don't have proper records?
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, record keeping as a whole becomes critical. It's how you classify. Let us not lump stuff. Because if you lump stuff, you can't know exactly what you are doing. I mean, I'll give you a typical example. Imagine your clothes are all over and you just pick without seeing anything. You may pick a different color sock, different color trouser, and then how are you dressed? Do you think you're dressed well enough?
Absolutely.
So in the same fashion, accounting records are important to know, to be basically well dressed from a financial point to make decisions, whether it's decisions to get an investor, for example. Even when you want a loan, you need to know what your numbers can give you before you even approach the financial institution.
It helps you to be able to justify your own figures also.
Exactly.
It's good for you to understand.
Exactly. So I think in essence, it's very hard to divorce from a financial point.
Yes.
Regardless of whether you have an accountant or not. This is why every business will have a business bank account.
Yep.
You're dealing with numbers.
Absolutely.
Your KYC documents will say, can you have financials? You're dealing with numbers. Ask yourself, why are they looking for financials?
Yeah.
And so at the end, you need to be in a position to defend your own position. There's a statement called financial position.
Yes.
This basically just tells you where you are. And the question of where you are will be answered. Do I want to be here? Where do I want to go? What decisions can influence me to change the status quo?
Wonderful.
So it's very critical from that point.
Thank you so much. Let me remind our viewers, we are speaking to the founder of PaperValley, an accounting services firm, Mr. Michael Segolodi. I can see there are some comments already here. We've got one from PaperValley, great, which says well represented. And then we have Anastasia Segolodi with a nice emoji over there with
That's
some
my
hearts.
mother.
Oh, wonderful. Wow, no, that's great. That's great. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, there's also a link which you can click on in the comment section and also in the description of the video. If you'd like to call in and ask Mike some questions so that we can hear you, please do so. And please do keep your comments coming. We're discussing the importance of proper accounting and record keeping. We should not underestimate this as young people in business. It's very important. Now, what I want us to talk to is the issue of compliance. You stated some words there. You said regulatory. You did say Companies Act. Why is it important for me as a young person in business to understand the importance of compliance, whether it's for banks, KYC, for the regulatory bodies? Why is it important?
It's important because economically, when we talk GDP,
Yes.
when we talk statistics of certain industries making a certain turnover, you understand. So this is why, for starters, that thing needs to be kept in a way that the powers that be could make these decisions and say our GDP is driven by this sector.
Of course.
Because they can see a number of people in this sector are giving in their financials. So from a government standpoint, in terms of Companies Act, you are running a business. The economy says keep records so that we can understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Number one.
Of course.
Number two, also other government entities. Now we talk your BURS. They'll tell you we need your financials to be kept minimum 7-8 years, so that whenever we want to come audit you, we can come audit you. Why are they doing that? They're checking, are you well represented financially to pay us to have paid us what you have paid or not have paid? Now this avoids your tax evasion, and generally I think the bottom line is you don't want to go to jail.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So in essence,
that's scary.
Yeah, like any guy who's a thief and stealing. So if you don't keep proper records and they come knocking, they're going to be looking for your bank statements. I think the third part still with the government is right now you see we were blacklisted, we were grey listed actually by the EU. And why were we grey listed? Anti-money laundering. So it means every business should be having proper records, bank accounts, and keeping certain transactions to be electronic for ease of reference.
Absolutely.
Because the minute you transact a lot of money cash, there's a problem. So these are some of the ideas that come because of that regulation. And then we have your commercial banks, your insurance companies, and anybody which actually will require a KYC to be coupled with your financials. And mind you, it's also coming from a regulatory point.
Yes.
For starters, Bank of Botswana will regulate the commercial banks and say, make sure you know your customer.
Yes, it's important.
Knowing your customer at a business level means we know how they're making money.
What are their figures saying? Yeah.
This is why even at a personal level, BigBudget, if you were to just receive $1 million, the bank can even freeze it until you state, where's this $1 million coming from? You know, when they're used to you maybe receiving 10K every month and the like, they will actually question you because they need to know you so that they can tell somebody else to say, this is where we are. And then the other thing is also about monitoring debt. For example, commercial banks will use your financials to first check if you are ready to be financed. You know, the question is, if you want $1 million, do your books reflect that you can pay back the $1 million? There's a way that they can check it, but they check it from your financials. Then they use whatever metrics they use, but coming from your financials. So this is why they will get to be needed. It's a compliance issue. You can't be given a loan without it.
It's critical.
It becomes critical.
Yeah.
And I think generally it's you being an upstanding citizen.
Yes.
For starters. Because I say an upstanding citizen, but referring to the company, because the company is a separate legal entity on its own.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, it means there is a need to keep them. For investors also, it becomes a compliance issue. Companies on the stock exchange, there's a need to report.
Yes.
And generally it just shows you that even when you get bigger, this thing doesn't fall away.
Exactly.
It keeps coming. So
Absolutely.
therefore, there's a need to maintain the status quo of being compliant.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. No, thank you so much for that. I can see another comment that's here from Newman Paul, who says, very clear and elaborate, sir. I think he says, though, that the mic is a bit low, so it's fine. I think we'll work on that. Thank you for that,
Yes,
Newman Paul. We really appreciate that feedback. So we'll try and speak as loud as possible.
As loud as we can.
Yeah, because these are money matters. We have to be loud about them and
Definitely,
vocal. Thank you so much once again, Newman Paul. I can see Khofaone has invited One. One should definitely make sure that she watches the show also. One Mariri Sekhoje. Right. Now, we've spoken about this issue of KYC compliance. Now, for young people in business, let's get into this issue of contracts and contract administration, because we find ourselves jumping into deals with friends. Mike might be my friend and I'll say, no, Mike, okay, let's get into this 500,000 pula deal without anything on paper.
Yeah.
What do you think is the importance of contracts, and what should we look out for when we enter into contracts?
Yes, it's a definitely a big issue. Also, I'll start with friendship, the way you gave the example. Understand, in business you need shareholder agreements.
Of course.
This will detail who's responsible for what are you bringing to the party, and generally the running of the business as shareholders, which is very critical, because without the structure, then definitely you may fail. And when you fail, you start pointing fingers.
Absolutely.
And I think this is why there's a saying that says, be business partners first and friends after, compared to being friends first and being business partners.
Yes.
as much as it's doable, it becomes very hard for most people to maintain. This is why you find that partnerships with friends, they falter, or the friendship actually disappears altogether because the values from a business point have not been fully defined.
Yes.
So that's why you need that shareholders agreement. And then contracts as a whole generally is needed, whether it's sales. I'm in a services business.
Yeah.
Because I'm in services, we literally draft contracts to have, if I'm going to do your finances, BigBudget, I will have them for a year minimum. I'm signing this contract to protect both of us.
Exactly.
To know what it is that we do, because we are not miracle makers.
Absolutely.
So you can't hire me on the first and on the second I've produced all the reports and
Very true.
you feel you're happy.
There should
So
be service level agreements. that will enter.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then it will define what service I'm bringing
Yeah.
and what time frames will we be sitting to discuss all these. And I believe this covers everything: sales, HR, it's you employing people, it's a contract. Get it signed so that we both know who's doing what.
Yeah.
So it's very critical that every business has different contracts for different purposes.
Yes.
As long as you are engaging two people in any point or two entities, we need an agreement of some sort. We need a contract of some sort.
Wow.
Because then you'd actually get away from the pitfalls that come without a contract.
And also to drive whatever processes you're agreeing on.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Wow. Thanks a lot for that. So I take it as young people in business, we see the importance of entering into contracts because they can formalize our business processes. They can help us also avoid pitfalls, as he has said. So let's not take some of these issues lightly. Let me remind you once again that there is a link in the comment section and in the description of the video. If you would like to call in and ask any questions related to proper bookkeeping and accounting, to contract administration, or KYC and compliance, this is the man to speak to. Thank you also for the comments that have been coming. Now, Mike, you did speak a bit about how you feel that it's important for us to understand that we have proper record keeping because eventually we are actually contributing towards GDP, economic growth. I like that because that means we are not thinking on a small scale, as in, okay, my business will only feed my family. But when we look at our businesses, let's also look at them as economic contributors.
Definitely. It's actually surprising. Our GDP is actually driven by the SMMEs compared to the big enterprises.
You see?
So it's the unfortunate part is, how do we get proper records of the SMME sector, and varies from the industries. And this is where it's critical to, one, maintain proper records of accounting, maintain certain contracts that will guide the way you operate, and also scalability. Like you said, formalizing our business processes starts from the contracts. It starts from the systems and processes you put in place, because it's about, how do I do this? Can I have a clear, detailed elaboration of the tasks that I attend?
Absolutely.
So these are the critical elements of business. And generally, we contribute to the economy regardless of how big we are. Because at the end of the day, imagine a lady who sells sweets. They'll put their kids through school. They'll buy uniform from somebody who's tailoring that uniform. That person will buy electricity, will pay utilities. All these are a function of the economy, and we just need to understand, even at a personal level, we need to be keeping records, because if we keep records, we know what income we have, we know what expenditure is there, we know what contributes to the overall well-being of our being at any point in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So this generally becomes a cobweb.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to understand every small thing affects the other, one way or the other.
Sort of has a ripple or domino effect.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. We always like to ask, yes, you're an entrepreneur focused on, you're making your profits, providing for you and yours, but are there any social causes that you are passionate about?
I think for me, my social cause is in line with business.
All right, wonderful.
However, we haven't gone where we would say we've done community work at a certain scale. But obviously, it's in a pipeline to say, how do we do it? And I think it's in how we can leverage platforms like yourself
Thank you very
to
much.
actually take ourselves out there and give information. You know, the other day I was listening to something and somebody said, in Botswana, our biggest problem is we shy away from sharing information. It's as if I share the information, everything else that I'm holding on crumbles. But actually, in sharing information is where we develop, whether in ourselves and even in the greater part of the economy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, and I like how you said that, because when the team here at Moana Pictures, Black Network, and we came together to do this show, it was really about sharing pertinent information to young people in business, come what may. And you know, the challenges, people share their challenges, the ups and downs, and the reception has been wonderful. So thank you for noting that. Platforms like this do help. You know,
No, they do.
We appreciate
they do.
it.
I think it's an issue of staying the course overall, because at the end of the day, it's an element that one way or the other, somebody has to pick up this information. Whether it's in a book or in whatever form, somebody has to pick it up.
Yes.
And it's normally said, to hide anything from a black man, put it in a book.
Yep.
Because apparently we don't read as much.
Exactly.
But I think it's important for us to get ourselves acquainted to reading.
Yes.
The
Certainly.
information sticks with you.
Yes.
I normally say, listen, I can tell you what I do, how I do it, but because you are not passion driven with the way I am, you can do it the same way.
Wonderful.
So at the end of the day, I wouldn't be afraid of sharing even a business idea and tell you this is what I think should be done, because definitely you're not going to do it the way I'm imagining it. It's my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So definitely we need to share more information.
Wow.
And learn more information as well.
Wow. There's a comment here. It's a bit lengthy, but I'll read it.
Yes, sir.
It says, it's from Keith Tafadzwa Kanengoni. It says here, this interview is a perfect example of two people being aligned within their callings.
Thank you, Keith.
That's deep. That's deep. This discourse is by no means forced or pretentious.
Yeah.
Mike is definitely knowledgeable about his craft, and BigBudget definitely asking revealing and intelligent questions. Thank you so much for this, Keith Tafadzwa Kanengoni. Powerful conversations. I would definitely work with Mike if I ventured into business in Botswana. So definitely, thank you very much for that. Keith.
Come along.
Come through. Wonderful, wonderful. If we've got such feedback from outside of Botswana, we're really happy to have that. Thank you so much. This means a lot to us. We spoke of purpose, and
Yes,
you know, sometimes we just do things, but you don't see the impact that it might have. Thank you so much for this. Khofaone Fege Khasitshabelo says, very true. He relays all the relevant details effortlessly. Wow, wow.
Thank you.
And then Newman Paul further says, the dream belongs to the dreamer. That's it, Papa. Wonderful.
Yes.
You know, wow. Thank you so much for those comments. We really appreciate them. We're having an engaging conversation here with Michael Segolodi, the founder of PaperValley, an accounting services firm. Now, I can see you're big on self-development. You
Yes,
did
sir.
say personal development is your thing.
Yeah.
You listen to the likes of Vusi. But you did say that if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a
Put it in
book.
a book.
Someone said so, right?
Yeah.
What was the last most inspirational or most thought-provoking book that you read?
I wouldn't talk about the last. I think the one that hit home the
Yes.
most for me, it's I forget the name. It's Nigerian, but the title, The Capitalist Nigger.
Oh, yes.
That
Chike Onya.
book, yes,
Yes.
that book is so powerful. It gives us insights on what our Asian brothers and sisters are doing business-wise, and we see it every day.
Absolutely.
We see it every day. I think the essence of it is trying to speak to, if you want to build, you can't build alone. Like I said earlier, it's a cobweb, so we need to support each other
Absolutely.
in various ways this would mean, big budget, can I come and give you my service? Can you come take, can you give me your service? Can we make sure we keep it within ourselves?
Yes.
Because we normally see happening, and then you find another black person or another young person says, I can go to Michael, I've schooled with Michael.
This is just Mike.
This is just Mike, you know.
That's
but
what kills us,
it's not about whether we school together or not. It's about what can I deliver. And even myself, when you come, I need to deliver it like I don't know you either way.
Yes, and the interchange or exchange of
Exactly.
value, the value that we both present to each
It
other,
has to be there.
regardless
And
of background,
regardless of background.
past knowledge.
So at the end of the day, that's why that book resonates, because it's about the spider web doctrine and understanding the only way to actually uplift ourselves as black people, as Africans, is to work together and interchange value to the core. Because without doing that, we will always feel like, no, so and so is getting a chunk of this, because we are failing to actually work together. When they come here, they work together.
Absolutely.
Yes. So at the end of the day, we need to be building that. And I think that book really, I've always recommended it to different people, family members, friends, and I say, listen, until you understand the concept and until you practice it, we will definitely get ahead of time.
Thank you so much for that, Mike. Lastly, how can we get into contact with you for the services that PaperValley offers?
PaperValley, you can get in contact with us. We have an office in G West Industrial, Unit 2, Plot 22053, by Mega Tire behind Sabelo Express. Also, you can catch me on 73-933-300. That's our line as well.
Once again?
73-933-300.
All right.
And then our Facebook page, PaperValley, you can also catch us there. Send us a WhatsApp via the page as well, as we share insights from that point.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Segolodi, founder of PaperValley, an accounting services firm. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Big Budget. I've appreciated the moment.
Man, we
I shall
appreciate your
cherish it
presence.
going forward.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Thanks so
you,
much.
sir.
Before we leave you, don't touch that dial, don't press that phone, or whatever device that you're watching from. We'll be back. Just give us a few minutes for an ad break.
All my enemies will suffer my wrath, but those of my household will enjoy my embrace. I refuse to let my weakness get the best of me. Be more hard and less attack.
Right, so before we close every episode of Big Budget Business, we try to give you what we call a 2-minute tip to help you navigate whatever business challenge you might be facing as a young person in business or as a professional. And today we'll just give you 3 basic advantages of growing or expanding your network. You see, networking is very important. It's critical, firstly, because it helps you to build relationships. A lot of the businesses that we are in are really based or founded on the relationships that we build. So never underestimate your interactions with different people. Network, because it will help you build effective relationships. Number 2, networking will help you solve business problems. You don't know who you will meet, who will be able to help you with that business challenge that you're facing. So it's important for us to go out there, meet individuals who might actually eventually help us with the business problems that we face. And lastly, business opportunities. Of course, networking could lead you to having that next big client or that next encounter with someone who can lead to the improvement of your bottom line. So once again, the importance of networking from 3 perspectives. Firstly, business relationships, building those relationships. Number 2, solutions to business problems. And number 3, business opportunities. It's been a wonderful show. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. From me, Big Budget, and the team that makes it happen, Moana Pictures, Black Network, it's good night and God bless. And never forget that you were born for so much more.